Welcome to IAS project. In this video, we will talk about the script, the seals and the weight stones that were used in Harappan culture. This is the third video in this series. If you want to watch the first video regarding Harappan culture, you can watch it by clicking the link that is shown here. If we want to broadly classify the Harappan art, then we can do it into these categories. The first one is script, seals and sealings, then weights and measures, then pottery, terracotta artifacts, stone artifacts, copper and bronze artifacts, jewelry, ornaments and beads, and finally metal weapons that were used by Harappans. In this video, let's talk about these two, and in the next videos, we will talk about these. Before we go into the video, let me ask you an easy question regarding Harappan script. Consider the below statements regarding Indus script, that is Harappan script. 3 statements have been given here, and the question is, which of the above statements are not correct? The first statement is, it was an alphabetical script. The second statement is, it was written from left to right. And the third statement is, it has been recently deciphered. If you know the answer to this question, please write it in the comment section below. Now, let's talk about Indus script. Indus script is also called as Indus Valley script or Harappan script. Indus script was basically a pictographic script. What do we mean by this? In pictographic scripts, we use pictures to denote letters and words. For example, if you look closely in this picture, you can identify something like a leaf here. And in this picture, you can see something like fishes represented over here. So these are basically called pictures. And these pictures correspond to certain words. So it may be a leaf here, it may be a fish here, but we do not know this yet. So therefore, we can call Indus script as a pictographic script. Moreover, it was a logosyllabic script. Now, what is a syllable? Syllable is nothing but an uninterrupted sound. Let me explain with an example. If you look at the words Indus Civilization, first let's focus on Indus. The word Indus is made up of 2 uninterrupted sounds. They are nothing but in as well as dus. If we look at the word civilization, then the word civilization can be pronounced as civilization. Therefore, we can say that the word civilization is made up of 5 syllables. Another simple example could be banana. If you want to pronounce banana, then you would say ba-na-na. Therefore, it is made up of 3 syllables. So in Harappan script also, each letter or each picture which is shown here represented 1 syllable. So that is why we can say that Indus script was a logosyllabic script. So each logo represents 1 syllable. So Indus script is basically a pictographic script and a logosyllabic script. However, it was not an alphabetical script because each logo that is being shown here represents a picture or a word. It does not represent a single alphabet. In English, each letter represents a single alphabet. So English is basically an alphabetical script, but Indus script was not an alphabetical script. Indus script has not been deciphered yet. However, even today, the research is going on. So in the future, it may be possible that we may decipher Indus script. But as of now, we did not decipher Indus script. So therefore, whatever is written in the Indus script, we do not know what it means. That is the meaning of being not deciphered yet. So if we go into the detail about Indus script has basically about 500 signs. And all these 500 signs are actually made from some 50 to 60 basic signs. So for example, if you look here, you can see 2 signs. This sign is basically a variation of this sign. So like this, using variations, these 50 to 60 signs can be converted into more than 500 signs. I will give you a contemporary example. The scripts of Chinese and Japanese are often written using what is called as a kanji system. In kanji system, you might have seen symbols. For example, this kanji represents a tree. If I slightly modify this kanji like this kanji would become book. And we can make further variations also. If I make, let's say, 3 trees like this, then this becomes forest. So we can see here that from one basic sign, by using variations, we are deriving more and more words. So this is how Japanese kanji script works. The Indus script was also more or less like this. We have 50 to 60 basic signs, and using variations on these 50 to 60 basic signs, we can get more than 500 signs in the Indus script. Many scientists believe that Indus script does not have any link to Brahmi and Dravidian scripts. Let's talk more about Indus script. Indus script can be basically written in two ways. The first way is it was mostly written from right to left. For example, like Urdu or Persian. So we begin from the right side and we start writing towards the left direction. Something like this. This was the most common way of writing Harappan script. Another method was that whenever Harappan people needed to write long seals, then what they did was they used what is called as Boustrophédon method. Boustrophédon method is also called as ox turning method. Let me explain you how Boustrophédon method or ox turning method is written. An example is shown here. What we do is, in the first line, by starting from left side, we continue in the direction of right like this. And once we reach the end here, in the next line, we start writing in the other direction like this. So in the second line, we have to read from here. WHICH becomes which, YOU, you are learning on IAS project. So this is how the second line is written. When we reach the end of the second line, what we do is we start again from the left and start writing towards right end. Now we have reached the end of the third line. So at the end of the third line, what we do is when we go into the fourth line, we will start writing from right to left once again. So Boustrophédon script method is also known as ox turning method. Thanks for reading. So I hope you understood what Boustrophédon method is with this example. So Boustrophédon script or Boustrophédon method of writing simply means that writing in reverse direction in alternate lines. Harappans actually did not write long scripts. Most of their scripts which we found were very short. The longest inscription of Harappan script that we have found so far only has 26 signs. So please note that Harappan people did not write long inscriptions. They wrote very short inscriptions, and the longest inscription we have found so far is only of 26 signs. So when we talk about Indus script, it is very important that we compare the Indus script with contemporary scripts. For example, let's compare it with Mesopotamian script as well as Egyptian script. If we talk about Indus script, then it was a pictographic script. But Mesopotamian script, it was cuneiform script. You can see cuneiform script in this picture here. And Egyptian script was basically a hieroglyphic script. So these are called as Egyptian hieroglyphs. You can see a bird hieroglyph here, and a person is also shown in the hieroglyph here. So Mesopotamian script is a cuneiform script, whereas Egyptian script is a hieroglyphic script. However, the Indus script is a pictographic script and a logosyllabic script. Indus script has not been deciphered yet. However, Mesopotamian script as well as Egyptian script have been deciphered. Now, where were all these scripts written? Indus script was mainly written on the seals. For example, you can see Indus script written on the unicorn seal which is shown here. Mesopotamian script was actually written on clay tablets, and Egyptian script was written on papyrus scrolls. Moreover, Egyptians also wrote long inscriptions on stone. The evidences of Indus script are actually very less compared to Mesopotamian script as well as Egyptian script. Because what ancient Egyptians did was they wrote Egyptian script on papyrus scrolls, and they put these papyrus scrolls inside the pyramids along with the mummies. I hope you know about Egyptian mummies. So because of this, we have many evidences of Egyptian script. So this is about Indus script. Now let's talk about weights and measures that were used in Indus civilization. Harappans used a very precise system of weights and measures. First, let's talk about weights. You can see the stone weights that were used by Harappans in this picture. Many of these weights were actually made from a stone called as chert. Chert is basically a sedimentary stone. However, we have also found stone weights which were made from limestone as well as steatite. Steatite is also called as soapstone. Limestone is also a sedimentary stone, whereas steatite is metamorphic. So please remember these facts from the point of view of your geography syllabus. As you can clearly see in this picture, these stone weights were actually cubical in shape. Moreover, they did not have any markings on them. Harappans measured the weights both in binary system as well as decimal system. They used binary system mainly for the lower denominations of weights. It means that for measuring weight of small objects, they used binary system. We do not know what was the unit of weight in Harappan times. However, we have found small weight stones from Harappan sites in this ratio 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64 and 128. So this is how they measured the weight of small objects. When the objects became heavy, they used decimal system. Decimal system means multiplications of 10. So 10, 100, 1000 is basically a decimal system. Binary system means multiples of 2. So Harappans used both binary system as well as decimal system for measuring the weight of objects. For weighing objects, Harappans used metal scale pans. You can see the metal scale pan in this picture. So these both are actually metal scale pans. It is basically a simple balance that we use today. Moreover, all the cities in Indus Civilization had same kind of weights. That is why we can say that the high standard of weights means that there was some kind of authority and administration in the Harappan cities. And this authority and administration closely regulated what should be the weights of each stone weight. We will learn more about the authority and administration that existed in the Harappan cities in the coming videos. But for now, we know that high standardization of weights means that there was a highly stable authority and administration that were governing the cities, who were basically the rulers of these cities. Harappans also invented scales and rulers, so they knew how to measure length. We have two evidences for this. The first evidence is that we have found a shell scale at Mohenjo-daro. You can see shells here. So small scales were made using these shells. Moreover, at Lothal in Gujarat, we have found ivory scale also. And where does ivory come from? Ivory basically comes from tusks of elephant. These white things are called as elephant tusks. Elephant tusks are nothing but teeth of that elephant. So these ivory tusks are actually made from dentin. Our teeth also has dentin. Let me ask you a question here. What about rhino horn? Sometimes we hear in the news that in Kaziranga National Park or Manas National Park in Assam, poachers are killing rhinos. And they are killing rhinos mainly because they want rhino horns. Now the question is, what are rhino horns? Are they ivory or are they something else? Please answer in the comment section. So this is about the weights and measures that were used by Harappan people. Now let's talk about seals and sealings. Seals are nothing but stone stamps that were used by Harappan people. So these Harappan seals were mainly made of a stone called as steatite. Steatite is a metamorphic rock and steatite is also called as soapstone. Harappan people preferred to make seals using steatite because steatite is a soft stone. You can easily cut as well as carve steatite stone. That is why Harappan people used steatite to make their seals. They took this steatite stone and they delicately engraved this steatite stone. And after engraving, they hardened the stone by heating it. So after engraving, heating and hardening, they used this stone as a seal. You can see the example of a Harappan seal here. This seal is called as Pashupati seal. It was made out of steatite stone. And what did these people engrave on these seals? Harappan people mainly engraved inscriptions. For example, you can see inscriptions here. They were written in Harappan script. They also engraved motifs like animals. So you can see a unicorn here. Moreover, they also engraved religious symbols. For example, you can see a deity here, deity or a god. This deity is assumed to be Pashupati or Proto-Shiva. So Harappan seals basically contained inscriptions, motifs as well as religious symbols. The shape of these seals were mainly rectangular and square shaped. However, sometimes they also used circle shaped seals. Some of the common motifs that appear on the seals are animals. For example, we have bull seal. We also have seals where goats, buffaloes, tigers, rhinos and elephants also appear. Moreover, many of the seals actually contain religious symbols. For example, Pashupati Deva or Proto-Shiva. You can see Proto-Shiva in this seal here. Unicorn also. You can see unicorn seal here. Sometimes people tree is also represented. You can see people tree over here. Please note that people tree basically appears in your ancient history syllabus in two places. The first place is here in Harappan culture. Harappans basically used people tree seal. Moreover, Harappans also worshipped people tree. The other instance in ancient history where you study about people tree is during Buddhism. In Buddhism, people tree is called as Bodhi tree or Mahabodhi tree. So when we talk about Buddhism, we will talk about Bodhi tree or people tree once again. So that was all about seals. Now what is a sealing? Sealing is basically the impression that is made by a seal on a wet clay. So using these stone seals, what they did was they pressed these seals on a wet clay, and because of this, a permanent impression was made on the wet clay when it dried. And that dried impression is basically called as a sealing. So why did ancient people use seals? So during trade, what happened was Harappan people used to send goods from one place to another. So during this journey, it is important that these goods reach their destination without being tampered. So this is where they used seals. They used seals to stamp bags and packets that were containing these goods. For example, if they want to send some items to another place, what they did was they put these items inside a bag and they closed the mouth of this bag. Okay, they tied this using a thread, and on this thread they put wet clay, and on this wet clay they made an impression using their seal. So if this bag reached its destination along with the seal or with the seal intact, then it means that it was not opened during the transportation process. So this is how they used seals. They mainly established the identity as well as the ownership of the goods. So seals were very important from the point of view of trade that was done by Harappans. Almost all important people in Harappa and other major cities had their own seals. So they were unique to each person, or let's say to each family. Especially traders and merchants definitely had these seals. Sometimes people also wore these seals around their neck as amulets. Amulet is basically a locket kind of thing. You can see humped bull seal in this picture. So this is about the seals and sealings that were used by Indus Civilization people. If we compare the seals and sealings of Indus Civilization people with that of Mesopotamian people, then Mesopotamian people mainly used cylindrical seals. And these cylindrical seals were rolled on wet clay tablets to make impressions like this. So this is basically a cylindrical seal. And on the outer surface of this cylindrical seal, engravings were made. And this cylindrical seal was rolled on a wet clay tablet. Once it was rolled on a wet clay tablet, it left permanent impressions like this. We have found many cylindrical seals as well as inscriptions or sealings from Mesopotamian sites. So this is how mainly the Harappan seals and Mesopotamian seals were different. Harappans used flat seals like this, whereas Mesopotamians used cylindrical seals. If you like this video, please subscribe. You can download this presentation from our Telegram channel. The name of the channel is IAS Project. The link for this channel is given in the description below. Thank you.